More than a question. A question. I want everybody to tell me what can we do that has not been done before to ensure that the language is spoken and is kept alive. And I want to start with Rudy. Rudy, your mic is off. You need to put your microphone on.
I know, ok. Li difficile pour moi pour répondre à une question et m'da préféré ou nous qui sont spécialistes dans ma savoir répondre à façon en tant que haïtien. Mais moi penser nous besoin faire plus
And you can probably
échange.
try it in English as well, because when we hear this, some people who
Okay. So I think yeah. I think we need to have more exchanges between the different Creole speaking countries, like cultural exchanges and eventually trade exchanges, because this is what drives people to learn a language. Because if you have no interest in, communicating with someone, you don't share anything in common. So why would I be interested in, learning a language or speaking that language? Because in the Caribbean, we have so much in common, like the music, yes, and art and culture and stuff. So we need to promote that. And by the way, what you're learning is a good start. Okay, so I got to meet different people that are working, in promoting Creole language, which is interesting. And I hope we will still be in touch after, that call. But, okay, this is all that I can think now. And this is what I do also with my friend Lucette, who, by the way, doesn't speak Creole, even though she claims that she speaks Creole.
Oh. So I really want us to share what we think can be done that has not yet been done to spark an interest, a fire in learning the language. Because if anybody wants to learn something, all you do is immerse yourself. You'll find what you're looking for if you really want it. So Lucette, MJ, Renaud, tell us what are you recommending should be done?
Eh bien, on commencer avec permission l'autre monde.
Comment?
M'a commencer avec permission l'autre monde. I will start with the permission, please.
Oh, yes.
OK, m'a situé intervention sur deux plans. Qui ça n'ont pas fait en Haïti localement et sous plan national et que nous devons faire qu'on y a. C'est vrai créole c'est langue tout haïtien parler, mais c'est vrai qu'il y a un pile résistance encore en 2020, bon côté en pile haïtien pour assumer yo c'est créolophone et puis servir avec créole dans toute situation pour accepter créole doué principale langue qui doit servir pour tout le monde apprendre l'école. Les au final alphabétisé totalement en créole, le ça va passer dans français, il va passer dans n'importe l'autre langue si vous voulez. Mais il déjà fin alphabétisé totalement dans langue yo connaît, dans langue 100% haïtien maîtrisé, quitte ses professeurs, quitte ses parents, quitte ses élèves, le ça et transfert parce qu'elle a fait plus facilement sortir dans créole, arriver dans français ou bien dans n'importe quelle autre langue. Mais ça c'était le premier élément. Deuxième élément, c'est sous plan caribéen. Et ça me souhaitait nous comprendre moins bien. Et si vous ne dit pas comprendre, nous t'apprenons signaler ça et vous dit apprendre moi service là, la traduire en anglais pour moi ça très important pour moi ça me le dire. Alors, caribéens en général, nous plus portés vers l'autre pays, ça m'a même osé les puissances coloniales, anciennes puissances coloniales, que nous tournons vers caribéens pareil. Non? Or, si nous considérons l'ensemble de la Caraïbe, n'a pas langue qui pique courant dans la Caraïbe là, c'est créole yoye. moi pas vle di gen intercompréhension pour tout créole yo, parce que gen créole qui sorti dans français, tant que créole m'a parlé là, nous comprendre là dedans, tant que ça parler Sainte-Lucie, la Dominique, Martinique, Guyane, Guadeloupe, Haïti, etc. Mais gen créole tout qui sorti dans anglais, tant que créole yo parler la Jamaïque par exemple. Bon, nous venons de l'autre créole qui est composite, tant que Papiamentou par exemple, qui gagne base lexicale diverses, même si à l'origine li sorti bon linguiste pas même fin d'accord sur ça hein gain quoi sorti dans portugais pour commencer gain qui quoi sorti dans hollandais et puis de plus en plus en pile mot espagnol en pile mot anglais à entrer ça me souhaitait et son bataille m'a mené depuis une bonne dizaine d'années moi gain possibilité déjà parler parole ça en Martinique moi gain possibilité parler li en Guadeloupe. Moi, j'ai possibilité de parler en 2014, si je me songe bien, la Grégory Rabès à la Dominique. Ça lié, c'est rive établi une association, moins relais, une créolophonie caribéenne intégrative. Et pour qui ça, un adjectif intégratif là, c'est un...
I cannot translate that.
Au capable.
Really, go ahead. Do what you can.
No. He said the most important thing for him would be to create an association between Caribbean, Creole-speaking Caribbean. Mm-hmm. Is that the idea, right?
Exact. Yeah, et ça
I sort of picked that up.
Et m'relel créolophonie caribéenne intégrative. Pour qui ça intégrative? Parce que c'est une communauté, c'est une association qui pas fait étagement entre langues qui chita sous créole yo et tout créole yo gen place yo même si yo pas sorti non français même avec créole non parler. Et river faire ça tabli pas si difficile passer ça non, il y a deux raisons qui fait li pas trop difficile. Première raison c'est que dans tout pays non yo regroupé en dans une association interuniversitaire yo relé Corpuca en français. Pas connait comment pour me traduire ça en anglais. C'est Corpuca c'est conférence des présidents et des recteurs et présidents d'universités de la Caraïbe. Ou bien West Indies qui la donne, ou bien plein d'universités haïtiennes qui la donne, et ou bien l'Université des Antilles qui la donne.
Okay.
Et allez-y.
So, Reynolds, take a pause for a minute. I want to hear from the English-speaking countries. What can we do? Because Haiti has no problems with speaking the Creole.
No.
Martinique and Guadeloupe, while it is not encouraged by the authorities, but it is widely spoken. It's not very endangered. But in the English-speaking countries, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, Trinidad, it really is fighting for oxygen. So tell us, Gregory, what can you do? We do that. I know in Dominica we take our independence and National Day very seriously, and we integrate the Creole in all of what we do. We have the World Creole Music Festival. We have our Creole dictionaries. You have the Comité Poétique Creole. There's a lot going on. But still, is that enough to save the language?
Non. On va fondamental pour faire c'est mettre créole dans l'école, système d'éducation. Ça c'est à part de parler créole puis faire connaissance créole en avantage. Vous savez, ça nous fait créole là en avantage en société, en avantage professionnellement. Et puis pour faire ça, nous avons commencé au premier plan quoi, ça dans l'école là, c'est petit enfant l'école là, puis ce même problème là, il a eu la force de poser à sous les lois apprendre créole, ça a affecté l'apprentissage anglais. Mais nous connaissons ça sur les phobes. Moi-même, quand je parle 4 langues, ça va pas distraire moi.
Moi, connaître parler créole, ça n'a pas jamais fait moi pas.
Non, moi, quand je parle créole, moi, quand je parle anglais dominicain, j'ai besoin de parler anglais dominicain. Voilà pour je parler anglais quand en Angleterre. Pas mais et puis même accent mais ça y est le standard. On va parler le standard. Mais ça pas qu'à gêner. Mais problème là nous en Dominique là, on pas parler anglais bien, nous pas parler créole là bien, nous pas parler créole dominicain bien, nous pas parler rien bien. Ça c'est un problème.
Well,
Pour moi ça c'est ça, c'est mettre créole dans les, fouiller ça dans l'école hein.
oui,
Et puis pas appeler plus créole.
Moi, d'accord avec vous ça. Mettez jeune, fait jouer drama avec un l'autre. Mettez un caractère, quittez yo jouer avec apprendre mot, avec apprendre
Mais quand changé, nous tenons premier journée créole dominique en l'année 81. Et l'année 80 généralement, yon se ba nous fait pour journée créole, ça c'est pour faire toute leçon pour journée en créole. Et puis à l'époque, c'est ça, journée créole, c'est journée en l'école là, l'année scolaire là, qui était plus intéressant pour ces petits enfants.
Gregory, just give me a minute. Rudy has to leave now. We want to thank Rudy for his contribution.
Pas de problème.
It was a pleasure having you, and we'll be in touch again. And we want to thank Lucette for bringing Rudy on. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you, guys. I really have to go. Sorry.
Okay,
bye.
Pas de problème.
So Gregory, continue.
So let me just say one line in Pato. Moi d'accord, nous besoin no association Caraïbe Creole. I agree with that. Now, one reason why, from the perspective of Grenada, I know that we have been working for at least what, 8 years, 9 years, almost 10 years, and we've made certain progress. We have reawakened the love, well, not the love, but the willingness to claim the love of that language of the ancestors. We have awakened a need to learn, but we have not been able to satisfy that need. We tried radio programs, we have classes, we now even have online classes, which we have not had in the last year, actually. And in the next few, we have done the research. We have published papers in linguistic journals. We have at least 2 papers published in linguistic journals. Here is a copy of one journal where this is called Breaking Down Binaries, and it is the University of Curacao and the University of Puerto Rico. Also, UWI has been associated with them. So we've had 2 published papers. We've published even, we've self-published a book, basically outlining the rise and fall, how it came to be in Grenada, and how it demised or nearly demised. And we wrote a little book for babies, kindergarten and grade 1. Quittez-nous compter en patois. And that book is published by the OECS, Early Learners Program, and it should be appearing in our countries. In fact, I think the shipment just arrived 2 days ago in Grenada. My only problem is I don't think they have enough copies, right? And I'm told that St. Lucia and Dominica will also be receiving copies of that said book, published by the OECS, Early Learners Program. So we've been working. Now, one thing that we managed to do in 2012, 2013 is to get put in our national cultural policy that the patois language should be preserved and taught. Now that's a step. The thing is, it has never really been published. It's a draft, but it's there. It's a document that was, a lot of money was spent, and it's there. In the next 60 days, we'll be publishing the grammar, the basic grammar of Grenada Patois.
a lot of work has been done in terms of documenting the history of the language and the words and but we need to the
So I'm coming to that. So what we need now is to this is why I say we need that association so that they can to increase a sort of a groundswell. You see, so I agree that we need that. And that association can now have as one of its aims to garner the governments, particularly of the English countries, to make efforts to promote that language, to teach it in schools. In fact, when the grammar comes out, at least we will have a document of our, in fact, I have a draft document of it. We will have a draft document which we would be able to provide to teachers, and we should continue reaching out to teachers because we did, and we need to get the ministries of culture to work with the ministries of education, because sometimes these ministries are separate and they don't necessarily work in tandem for, say, a project such as this. So we need to, that's what we need. We need the people, so then the associations between the countries, that's the people. And the association works among the people to galvanize the policy makers
to
get put into schools.
If you want to learn a language, you have to speak it. And you need to speak the language with someone who already knows it. So there has to be dialogue and constant dialogue. Do you think, you said that you are in agreement with the fact that there should be a Caribbean association. Do you think that a Haitian, let us say Mr. Gauvin, right here, Renaud, he is a Dean of Linguistics at the University of Haiti. Do you think that a group of Haitians coming into Grenada to teach Creole in the school, that would be Haitian Creole, do you think that would be somehow helpful? Or somebody from St. Lucia or Dominica coming, or Martinique, Guadeloupe, would that be helpful?
Well, it would be helpful to have some kind of an exchange, but to necessarily have a Haitian professor teaching Grenadian students the language, they will learn Haitian Creole, which is not identical. I mean, the syntax, I believe, is the same, but the parts of the grammar, like, for example, for what I know, the present tense, ap, we use ka. Grenada has a negative which is unique. It's ba. Everybody else uses pa. There's a reason, there's a historical reason. We've researched it and found it out. But if you're going to have the Genmoun use the language Zanset, you will not achieve that by inviting someone of a different heritage to come to teach your students.
But do you have people in Grenada who speak the language fluent enough to be able to pass it on to the younger generation? Because you were just
we do have some. The thing about it is that they may not be comfortable to actually go into a teaching situation. So you will have a small handful, and we can probably find them if we look really hard enough.
But you need to, because time is running out, and I'm certain these would be older people. If you find somebody in Grenada now who speaks Creole fluently, that would be an older person. So you need to find them, and it may not even be in a classroom. It could be, they could just teach young people how to cook something in Creole, giving instructions in Creole, telling a story in Creole, like Mr. Hilary Laforce. Hilary is a storyteller. He tells conte. Conte is Gregory, can you explain what conte is?
We know what is conte, I think. We know conte. We have conte.
It's a story, basically a traditional story. But I have a question for our friend from Grenada when it's possible to ask her the question.
Okay, MJ. Yes, I'm MJ.
Go ahead, Gregory, ask the question.
Okay, Adam Nick, for example, well, for the benefit of our friend in Grenada, but Adam Nick, Nulika Kie Langas la Patois. In Dominica, we used to call the language Patois. That is in the old colonial days. But Patois now has a negative connotation. Tem mot Patois c'est un élément très négatif. Et ça nous fait, en Dominique, nous abandonner mot Patois, nous fouter ça dans la poubelle, l'histoire. We dump the word Patois into the dustbin of history. So right now, I mean, people, the same way that people call all toothpaste Colgate, by habit, they will still refer to Patois, but more and more people, and many of the people who used to refer to the language as Patois are now saying Creole. So you have, to me, more and more, most Dominicans now are saying, nous parlons Creole, moi, les apprendre Creole. In Grenada, now that you are trying to revive the language, what is the name that you use for it? Are you saying Patois or are you saying Creole or French Creole? Just for clarity, just to enlighten us on that. Merci,
Thank you for the question and wanting me to mention the answer. Now, our position has been to expose all of the names. Lesser Antillean Creole French. We approach it from a kind of an academic perspective. Lesser Antillean Creole French, also known as Creole, also known by because our people called it Patois. And when we were first introduced to the to the language, its existence, we called it Patois. You see? So now our linguist has said to us, we should be calling it Grenadian Patois. I understand.
Everybody,
I understand the negative connotation, and the negative connotation comes from the mainland France, where to speak a patois was to not speak French properly. That's my understanding.
But we also need to differentiate
that I think Creolists are helping us to establish that this is a language in its own right, and the people who speak it can call it by whatever name they so feel. Now in Jamaica, the Creole English is being called Patois.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
So the thing about it, Jamaica has an English Patois, and we have a French Patois, which we shall call, where they call this Jamaican Patois, we can call ours Grenadian Patois, and we don't bother, I don't think we'll be bothered too much by any negative connotation. This thing is ours, and it's not broken French. It is a language that comes from Africa, and I mean, put it this way, this was the reason for this book, to find out where this language came from. And this language is a language that was built by Francophone people, not necessarily French, Francophone people from the south. Oh gosh, my geography is terrible, but the border with France and Belgium. It was the Walloon people who influenced our language the most. They were working for the French, who was the true administration.
All right, so MJ, I need you to
Martinique.
Take a pause a minute. Lucette in Guadeloupe. I want us to, Grenada has done a lot of work, like Dominica and St. Lucia, in documenting, in putting books together. Gregory himself has written many books. And I know Max is an author, he's published as well. I'm not sure to what extent you publish in Creole, but I know you've published. tell us what you think, Lucette, can be done that has not been done before to preserve your Creole that the French authorities are not encouraging you to speak.
You know what I was thinking when about all this discussion, and then I like when Rudy and the other Arnaud said about the integrative Caribbean Creole. I think that there is a Banzil Creole, which was started some decades ago. So why should we should maybe use this Banzil Creole to do all this promotion and all these innovative things, you know? Banzil Creole, I don't know, I guess somebody talked about it some minutes ago. Banzil Creole is the kind of association of promoting the Creole. So we could use this Banzil Creole to do more. I don't know if the others agree with me.
Yes, let me just step in here. You're quite right. Mais d'accord, if you beat a Banzil Creole, Hillary from St. Lucia, remember, there was a conference in St. Lucia on Journée Creole International, tenir conférence là. Et puis, confiante qu'il mentionné ça aussi, hein, pour moi-même, non, mais Banzil Creole, c'est à niveau international.
Exactement.
Mais même qu'à parler, pas de Banzil dans
niveau caribéen.
Global là.
Ouais.
Banzil, Gauvin qu'à parler initiative ou pays spécifiquement pour Caraïbes là. So ça c'est des éléments dans BTR. So just to run that again in English, the Banzil Creole, and I agree for Guadeloupe friend that effort should be made to revitalize and reorganize Banzil Creole. That will take in all like Seychelles, Mauritius, Réunion, and so on. But Gauvin is also raising the question of some special initiative that would encompass the Caribbean area. Because in the Indian Ocean, between Mauritius, Seychelles, Rodrigue, and Réunion, they do have quite a lot of cooperation initiatives among themselves, recognizing the fact that the Caribbean is so far away from them. So they are closer together. So you find that they do a lot of initiatives on zone Ocean Indian. So in a sense, Gauvin is right, technically on point, that in the context of the zone Caraïbe, we can do some cooperative things together, and at the same time, in the context of the global Creole, do things in the context of Banzil Creole. That's it. Yeah, thank you.
I don't think that what Gregory Rabes has said is incompatible with what I have said.
Not at all.
I can see the whole thing working together.
And you can get some help right there. You can get some help right there for Grenada, with Grenada, because you need a lot more speakers of the language in Grenada to really overpower the you know, not to overpower the English, but to
overpower the decline that the language has suffered.
I agree with you, and I agree with everything that has been said tonight. I also think that what we can do is perhaps start in the preschools with dramatizations. If you have plays that school children are asked to dramatize, and the characters are in Creole, the dialogue in Creole, and you do, that is where one way of getting them to understand the language, even if it's not spoken at home. But in the schools, drama is one powerful way, I think, of communicating ideas. And so if we start that at the schools, a drama program only in Creole, then people will understand context, people will understand words, and it will start from small, and the children will pick it up. And even children love cartoon characters. In St. Lucia, Mr. Lafosse, I see that some, as a young cartoonist, started a cartoon in Creole. And children love cartoon characters. If you use Dora the Explorer or Peppa Pig, that's translated in so many languages. If you translate that in Creole, you have the children. You have them, because they will listen. Anybody else has any ideas? Yes, Mr. Lal?
We have in Grenada here, we have had for several years. I mean, Simon launched off the first one where we've had schools quizzes, and these quizzes have grown to the point where these children now start to portray whatever it is they say. They start with songs, but then just so happens that they have songs which these children are now portraying as a little skit, you know? And what I found is that they, first of all, they enjoy it, and clearly they understand what's going on, you know?
But they have to be confident enough to speak it so that it can become part of their vocabulary and a language that it becomes real to them. Mr. Lafosse, any closing remarks? Your mic is off though. Both your microphone and your, yes, it's on now.
Okay. Okay. I was saying, in order, your first question is what can be done in addition to what we have done in the past to ensure that the language is broadened and accepted by everybody. We in St. Lucia have done quite a lot in that regard, except that we have not been able to get it in the formal system. However, we have been able to get people to discuss using the language at the highest office of the land, and that is in Parliament.
House of Assembly.
Yeah, the House of Assembly. All right. It's accepted to speak the Creole at the House of Assembly, except it's not recorded. But attempts is now being made to record it. The Governor General, who has just left office before this one is there right now, gave the throne speech in the Creole language. All right. And that was accepted. What we're about to do is to ensure that we have all streets named in English, have a comparable Creole name also for the streets and every other aspect, so that people will now see it right in their eyes, hitting at them all the time. There is something else that has assisted us tremendously, is that movement from Martinique to St. Lucia. Okay? Lots of Martinicans come to St. Lucia, of course. It's been affected right now with COVID. But before that, there is this express diesel that travels to St. Lucia, especially during the holidays, every day. Martinicans come into St. Lucia go to Martinique. So much so that some of the Martinicans have got friends in Martinique who have taken some of our English words because of the influence of St. Lucia on the Creole, all day Martinican Creole. So there's need to have it spoken at the highest level of the country.
Right.
And that is the House of Parliament.
It's time to stop being ashamed or stop being, feeling that the language has to take second place.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know for us in Dominica, we've done a lot of work for years. We have people like Jean Lawrence Mathurin, who started the Siffla Moutain Chorale, and they've sung in Creole for years. A lot of the songs we sing at National Day or Independence during that season were composed in that era. But we haven't seen anything new coming up in terms of new songs. We know people like Chef Joe and Gramax and Gordon Henderson and
exactly.
They've done.
As you were saying some time ago, during our discussion. Yeah. As you were saying some time ago with our one-on-one discussion, the songs, you can be used to promote the language. In fact, it has been doing this. The Haitians with their compa, Dominica with the Cadas, St. Lucia have a new one called Denry Segment. All of these, are keeping the language alive. And not only within the Caribbean, but internationally. I mean, a lot of powerful Haitian bands end up in France and in Belgium. So other people don't understand the language, but they like it. They like the sounds. Okay? St. Lucia, for example, there is one of the groups that sings the Denry Segment. These things end up in China. Okay? Where people, again, they don't understand the language, but they love the beat, they love the sound. So that is one of the ways you can use.
I can tell you about his songs doing so well in Brazil and these countries. Any final words from everybody, from anybody before we wrap up? Because we've been at this for a while. The time is we need to wrap up.
My final word though is while we are trying to get to preserve and promote the language. The language itself, because of the advancements of technology, we are beginning to lack some new words into the language. All right, particularly with computer science and so on. And we find ourselves having to say words in computer language in English. The time has come, and as Gregory was saying and others, that Van Zyl begin to look at that and see what can be done. Now, people argue that language evolves. It takes time. But at some point, you have to advance it, okay? Otherwise, we'll find ourselves adulterating the language for lots of English. Just like the French also complains about it. They're saying that lots of this new terminology that they use is English, and some are saying they don't like it and they need to change that. People still saying the French still have problems with hamburger and say hamburger and so on. All of these are English terms. So there is need to
stupid.
Exactly.
Stupid.
Exactly.
I think that Professor Michel de Graaf,
Professor
Michel de Graaf, I have seen a little bit of his work in the United States. I think he's based in the United States. And he has been putting words into ITN, scientific words, so that textbooks now, IT is actually producing text educational material educational for the schools in science, mathematics, you name it. And I want to say before I sign off that Grenada has also little songs of promoting the language, you know, and if I could share my screen, I could give you a snippet. We have Parle Patois, Parle Patois, but I don't want to sing it. I want to share the screen.
Go ahead and share it. Give us 2 minutes.
Let me see if I can share the screen. First of all, share screen. Oh, I cannot. The host has disabled that.
Oh, let me see. I don't know how to enable it for you.
Well, okay, let's pass on it. Let's pass on it some other time.
It's on YouTube?
Sorry, it's on YouTube. Yes, all you do is look at. You can pull it up. Parle Patois La Grenade, and there are two examples. One has subtitles and one does not. I think like Max may have seen it the way he's doing.
I know this video.
You've seen it before? I'd have to pause the screen and go and find it on YouTube. And that might take a little while. Hello?
And it was like our Creole.
Oh, you could understand.
Oh yeah, sure.
You could understand because you are so good in Creole. We may not so easily understand you, but you can understand perhaps.
Yes.
So what I will do, I'll put it up and perhaps circulate it among everybody after. I'll find the video, or you could send it to me and I'll circulate it among the panelists. And we will be in contact. I will share information if anybody wants to share the information, if anybody else, so we can take Mr. Renaud Gauvin seriously in what he said, his suggestion earlier on. So, and if anybody has anything else to say, now is the chance.
Simon, you're not. I'm not hearing you, but maybe you're hearing me. I don't know if you would like from your perspective and the Grenada situation, just to say something. Simon? I don't know. His mic is muted.
Yeah, Simon, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Your mic is muted.
Simon is not there.
All right.
Okay.
I wanted to find out, Gregory, whether the World Creole Music Festival, where a lot of people coming from all over the French islands and other countries, whether it has had any impact on the language itself in Dominica and how it's spoken.
Well, it has had an impact insofar as it helps to popularize the music. And as we said, Hillary too said that the music is also very important for language learning. The zouk, the compa, the cadence calypso, even the bouillon, very important. Children learn songs they pick up the songs very quickly. And in the preschools in Dominica, in the kindergarten, they'd use quite a bit of the Creole songs at that level. Bonjour, good day, Kumaouye, how are you? So it's almost like bilingual, but they're learning the language. We also did things like the Creole spelling bee and Creole choral speech. But yes, the music plays an important role, not just the World Creole Music Festival, but popular music generally. We have a very strong folk music tradition in Dominica. You mentioned Souffle Moutain, but we have the Independence Creole song competitions. So that helps to promote. So there's a lot of Creole songs being written all the time in Dominica. It's a very, very rich process going on. All the time. So songs are a very important medium, whether it's through the medium of the festivals or whether it's through the medium of the school system. Yes, we got to use the songs and the music as part of the process to get Creole more in our DNA, actually.
All right, so let me thank all of you for your participation in our discussion. It was really, really fruitful. And I'm hoping that, as Mr. Gauvin said, we can perhaps do something to remain in touch and do something practical that can push the language as a spoken language a little further. I want to thank all those who joined in, who were not part of the panel, but they joined in to listen. I want to thank all of you and have a blessed evening. And thanks again.
Thank you.
Merci un pile, merci un pile, merci un pile. Bonsoir, camarade Gauvin, et puis Hillary, et puis Max.
Merci Gregory, merci Max, merci frère Creole.
Merci Ono. À bientôt.
Et puis les restants aussi, les restants,
À bientôt.
les restants.
À bientôt.
Et je connecte Max.
MJ.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Yes.
C'était bien même. Nous avons fait ça encore.
C'est un plaisir. Merci un
On
peu.
peut dire ça.
Plaisir partagé.
Merci.
Pas de problème, pas de problème.
Ciao.
Okay. Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.